Hello, everyone. I'm Clayton Davis, Film Awards editor at Variety. Thank you for joining me today for this conversation with Nightmare Alley cast members Bradley Cooper and Cate Blanchett. Hello, you two.
Hey, hi.
Hi, greetings.
You troublemakers. You two troublemakers.
Who
Listen,
told you?
look, I got some beef with you guys because
Okay, shoot.
before Nightmare Alley, I had these two what I call the pinnacle Bradley Cooper and Cate Blanchett performances, right? That I felt like were untouchable. It was your gift to cinema.
Okay.
And then you guys
Wow.
come together on Guillermo del Toro's movie and are challenging those spots and have to make me rethink everything I love about both of you. So my first question is, why do you guys work so well together? Let's start there. Like, how did this magic come to be and captured on the big screen? Yep, straight up, right out the gate.
Take it away, Bradley.
I mean, the truth is, you never know if it's gonna work. You just don't, and then it's not until you step on the field and you're talking to the other person, and if they're talking to you, and the writing's good, and the two people have done their work, magic will probably happen because there's two live beings communicating in an imaginary circumstance. And so when I had the opportunity to stand across from Cate, that all just happened, in her office, and it all was like this world. So for me as Stanton, I had put in the work to be him, and so Stanton walked into Lilith's office. I mean, that's how I experienced it.
It's also, I think it's absolutely that. I mean, sometimes you can feel like things are working. And I find this really interesting when you think about photographers, right? That someone can photograph a cup and saucer, and you go, oh, that's a cup and saucer. And someone else can photograph a cup and saucer, and you think, oh my God, I can suddenly see the Second World War, and I can see, the history of slavery, or, like massive things are brought to bear on the same sort of object. And I find it really interesting that a director can have, a tracking shot into two people, and there's massive chemistry, and then tracking shot into a different director with those same two people, but yet it doesn't seem like anyone's doing anything differently. So it is a triangle. And I think it's the fact that it was Guillermo, and we were triangulated with Guillermo. But then you also have to work with a generous actor. And I've had a great good fortune to work with some amazing actors. But I don't think, and you can close your ears, Bradley, but I don't think I've ever worked with someone as generous as Bradley. Like you really feel that Bradley is there not only in service to the story, but in service to making the actors around him and their characters live and breathe as much as you are invested in your, the realization of your own character. So that was a joy.
Oh, well, that's a nice thing to hear.
Wow.
Wow.
I know.
No, it's true.
Thank you.
Blanchett's a nice one.
But the one thing I just will add also is, there's also something about, storytelling at its best in film is everybody together exploring and really exploring, actively investigating on the day of shooting. That's, to me, that's when you're in the zone. And the three of us, as you said, the triangulation, we changed stuff. We explored. Do you remember, Cate? We talked. There were two. We really explored how to stand and attack Lilith when she's on the phone. There was a thing where he was going to bring her back on the floor, and we were going to set up this whole other shot. And Cate we were always willing to there's no bad idea. Everybody has a voice, and let's explore everything. And when Guillermo creates that kind of environment where everybody has a voice. And by the way, it's tight quarters. We're in that outside of the Buffalo, the Copa. We were just in this room for 16 hours a day for 2 weeks. I mean, it's for real, you know. And it was just knowing that anything's possible, that we could try anything, that she wanted to come over, touch my head, all that stuff. Then you really feel like we're in this together. That's much different than just two actors saying the lines, moving on, go back, wait to be called. That's just not the situation. that it was for this movie.
That's awesome. All right, thank you. So Bradley, also a producer on the film, and I really want to know, as best as you can, what does a conversation with Guillermo del Toro look like when he tells you, I'm gonna make Nightmare Alley and I want to make it like this? And I just can't imagine the description of words, saying it out loud to, and having that conversation about that vision, because obviously we use the term that he's a visionary director, not really understanding that we really mean that he thinks about every asset of his movie, front to back, top, bottom, actor, stars, you know, the whole 9 yards. So how does that work for you as a producer on the project along with him?
Well, I mean, my job as a producer, along with really everybody, helps. I mean, this was for the love of the game. Everybody did it for the love of the game. All the actors, all the crew, and it needed that because it was a difficult shoot given all the circumstances. But you know, when Guillermo, I look at it as like, what I want to see this movie is like Guillermo del Toro is going to actually investigate how we wound up where we are as a civilization and a culture of like really not having any foundation, morally relativistic, and what's good, what's right, how we manipulate each other. He wants to really explore that. Wow, I'm in. You know, and the cast is Cate Blanchett, David Strathairn, Mark Povinelli, Willem Dafoe, Toni Collette, Richard Jenkins, Ron Pro. I mean, what? You know, that I want to be a part of. And that's what he wanted to do. I mean, it's all, in some ways, the whole movie is a preamble to the last scene of the film, where he finally is told who he is, because that's all he wants to know, because he's so lost in many ways, where we as a civilization and culture are so lost. So I just thought it was the timing of him wanting to tell this story and explore it got me very excited.
And I think sorry to interrupt, Clayton. And I also think, you know, you mentioned the cast, and it is such an incredible cast. And you feel in a way, I don't know whether he did, but you felt like, because Guillermo loves actors so much. And I don't, you know, I mean in a way like they're animals who are, like we were talking before, are prepared to try anything, and there's no shame, and they're hungry for the material and to see what they can make out of it. And so you felt like each of the parts had been written for those actors. And there was a moment there where, I won't go into it, where Tony was unable to join the film, and Guillermo just said, well, I can't make it. You know, had all the other ducks lined up. He said, I can't make it without Tony. You know, like no matter what the size or shape of your role was, everyone was really important to the kind of the telling of the story.
Yeah.
You know, every cigarette lighter, every glass, every book, you know, all of those details. As, you know, obviously
in fairness, I can't exist without Tony either. Go ahead.
I was just to talk about how you know, Cate never giving up. So we were obsessed with this Maltese Falcon cigarette lighter, right? We were you know, we had 6 months. We pushed the movie, so we had 6 months of prep, which was really invaluable. And we, with Cate and Rooney and I, with Guillermo and Kim, we got to really work on it. And in that time, we were, you know, Guillermo and I were watching all these movies, and there was just insane lighter in Maltese Falcon where I've never seen where he dips it in. So of course we're like, gotta be in the movie. So Cate gets burdened with this task, and the whole shot is like she has to do it, and it was so old, it never worked. And I don't know, we must have done, Cate, I don't know, 30 takes, and
I think
she just
so.
Never gave up. And then finally we got it, but it was just like, oh my gosh.
I don't know. And when it finally worked, I had to be so kind of, you know, in the moment, I was trying so hard not to sort of explode with joy that finally 150 takes in, I could light Bradley's cigarette. Who knew making a noir-esque film would be so complicated?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's because Cate Blanchett's so method. She goes for it at any moment. She doesn't stop.
Months of preparation, lighter work.
I like that. You and actually, Cate, you gave me a great transition, because I was going to talk about Guillermo and his actors. And very few directors in this industry, I hear actors talk about directors and they say, oh, I love them. But, you know, kind of behind the scenes, they're like, they're like, you know, it's just for face. Guillermo is one of the purest love from actors that I've ever seen. He loves actors, but actors love him. He is like adored. It goes beyond anything of like just respect. Like, people really love him. What about him really makes him the most, you know, obviously the most professional, but also the most caring and dedicated filmmaker we have.
He's such a robust person to talk to. He has incredibly strong ideas, but he's so interested in what everyone's perspective. Like, what's that thing he says, Bradley? Like, he likes to be right, but he loves to be
prefers to be wrong. Yeah.
And so you feel like you can talk to him about anything. But I don't know, maybe he wouldn't want me to say this, but I suppose this is a classic example, is that my hair was parted on a particular side, and he had this bathroom in Buffalo, this old, amazing deco bathroom. And, and so I was going to be right the last day of the shoot, and I was going to have to hang around for, obviously, to film in this very particular bathroom that was meant to be off my office. And all of a sudden the schedule changed once we'd started to shoot, and that scene was brought forward, and I went, oh, okay, I thought we had to go to Buffalo because you were so in love with this bathroom. And he was talking to me about it in pre-production. It's like the most beautiful room he was ever going to shoot in. And I realized when they built the set off my office in the end, he said, no, it's much easier to shoot here. But I found out through the production designer that he realized my hair was parted a certain way, and he thought it would look better and I would look better if I was shot from that side. So do you know what I mean? He did that. And I mean, most other directors would say, well, just flip her hair to the other side. But he went to that level of kind of care to get the visuals right, but also to sort of do, I suppose, what he felt was best visual service to my character. And when someone is looking at you with that amount of love and care, I mean, it's kind of no acting required. It's like, he makes everybody, because he's looking down the lens with such genuine love, that everyone in their own way can shine well as best as possible.
Bradley, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, what about your hair, Bradley?
Yeah, I mean, my hair, I was like, please only shoot it like that. I think, Cate and I have had the great fortune of working with incredible filmmakers in our career. And I think that the consistent thing that I see is a childlike curiosity. And all the great ones have just this childlike curiosity, and Guillermo has it in droves, and that's infectious. And he gets excited when he sees something he likes, and that's infectious. And so, I think, and it feels like you're pleasing him too. He'll be very quick to tell you if he likes something, which is a wonderful feeling for us, and it's just it's a joyous thing making a movie with him. And by the way, these were very difficult circumstances. So we really benefited from having our captain have that demeanor.
Awesome. Thank you. Bradley, I have to tell you, I am upset with you, because if I yelled at Guillermo, I have to yell at you for this. You have Cate Blanchett and Rooney Mara in the same room giving us a Carol reunion, which thank you for that. But then you have Mary Steenburgen and Richard Jenkins in a movie, and you never put them in the same scene to give us a Step Brothers reunion.
Yeah, I'll take. I was adamant that they could not be together. Yeah, I said I don't want it. It's gonna. All people are gonna think about is the other movie. Yeah. That's on me. On me.
Just want to let you know. But the ensemble here, and I think talk about your works here. I believe Cate Blanchett has the line of the movie when she says, "I'll live." Like, it's just 2 words, ripples through your body, and then you get it. And it's right after your big confrontation. Can you talk about getting to that moment where you guys could really, go, because you're going toe to toe. This is a battle of acting wits that I haven't seen demonstrated as brilliantly as I've seen you two do.
Yeah, it's a chess game, but it's also a bullfight as much. Where one character thinks they're the matador, and in fact, they're the bull. But I think that line came out of Guillermo kept coming up with a few different suggestions for that line, and that wasn't the only line. Like, he would constantly throw things in, a bit like a silent movie director. He goes, "What do you try? I'll live." And you go, okay. And so it was a few things, but it came out of being acting the strangulation for about 6 hours. So, I mean.
And I'll just say this about that scene. Am I wrong, Cate, to think that and you weren't feeling well that day? Isn't that right?
Yeah, I had some terrible stomach. I was really worried that I was going to throw up on you. which could have been interesting. It's a Guillermo movie. No, I had some terrible stomach bug. I had to go. I literally kept lying down on the couch, and
And
then
then
Guillermo
and I was feeling horrible like half of those scenes. Remember?
Yes, yeah. You must have given it to me, bastard.
But I have to say, like, you know, Kate and I've known each other peripherally maybe 3 times in the last 10 years, but we don't really know each other, and we didn't. And then, but like, and it's a credit to her that I felt. I mean, I had to strangle her with the cord of a telephone, and her back is bent over the table, and we're really going for it. I mean, we're not. I'm not. You know, and it's to feel that kind of freedom to be that horrific and allow myself to go to that place as Stanton. The level of trust is really remarkable. I have to say that she allowed me the freedom to go to that place is really. I don't think I've ever had an experience where I've had to do that with an actor especially an actor I don't know that well, and we haven't had that many scenes prior. It really was like, I don't know. It's a real testament to Kate and her craft and her humanity, because I felt really free that all those things we had to do. And we had to do a lot of stuff. There's stuff that's not in the movie that we explored. That's pretty, you know, it's out there, and it demanded like a lot of safety. Like we both had to feel really safe with each other. Don't you think, Kate? Like, I mean,
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, wasn't on the first day with Tony, didn't you do the bathtub scene as
oh
your
my
first,
God.
hi, welcome.
That was nuts. Yeah.
That
First day
was,
with Tony, I'm totally naked for 6 hours. Yeah, that was.
yeah, I know.
It's a good introduction,
Yeah.
right?
But it is, I mean, Guillermo does create that, you know, that environment. And, you know, I don't know about you, Bradley, but I felt like being in that room because it was so hermetically sealed and really claustrophobic at times. It was literally, I mean, we'd go in and those doors were closed and there was a minimal amount of crew in there. And so it became a really strong psychic space. Because, and also because the production design is so extraordinary and the art direction is so extraordinary. I've never experienced anything like it.
And he used a techno crane inside an interior scene. So you have like these two actors, and then you have this massive body and this, you know, serpent-like mechanical arm that's just weaving itself up, and you know, so there's that sort of element. You know, it wasn't shot like we'll do you're over, then you're over, and we'll get a profile. You know, there was a dance to it that added, I thought, Kate, to this sort of lurid, you know, odd, surreal-like almost feeling that we had shooting it.
But you know, Brad had to go. You had to go to such the character, and I don't think I've ever seen you play a character this dark. You know, and there was a kind of this terrifying emptiness about him.
Yeah.
And and I don't know whether because it was quite technical, but yet you didn't feel it was at the expense of going to that place. And Guillermo's really able to keep those two things kind of alive, you know, the kind of the technical mastery, but also not ever sacrificing the kind of the depth of the performance.
Yeah. Obviously, that means you haven't seen Wedding Crashers. So that's a pretty dark character. Bradley played.
You know what? You're right.
Yep. And shout out to cinematographer Dan Lotson, because it's beautiful, that movie. And Kate, you finally gave me another transition to my final question about the time period in which this is set. And I've told Kate this, like, I think you were just born in the wrong decade. I think you needed to go back in time and just live because you just fit so well into this time period. And it's bananas that you guys filmed this during COVID, like, because it seems so large, so big. What is the biggest takeaway from this experience? Because it's a dark film, but there's still so much to learn and to apply to your own life and what's happening today. What is that one experience that you're going to take with you from this time?
You mean from working through COVID, or
both? Working through COVID and the story, like kind of the marriage of those two entities.
Well, I mean, I was very fortunate in a way, because all of my stuff was very kind of concentrated, and all of our stuff was done in kind of a little a block, and then COVID hit, and right at the end of the shoot, I think, Bradley. But for me, a big takeaway, because Guillermo, he's incredibly nurturing, but he demands the truth, and so I think that's for me, that's what always grounds his the worlds that he create. They're so fantastical and otherworldly, but they're always grounded in truth. And I found that was kind of twinned with the theme of the piece, which is this fellow, this con man, this man who starts believing his own lie, is he strong enough to bear the truth of who he is? And so I found that a very powerful question to ask oneself, in life, particularly at the moment. So that's what I suppose I keep thinking about. And I did think about when I, as an audience member, watched the movie, because there was so much of the film that, I'd only imagined or read in the script, and then had the joy of, seeing afresh.
And Bradley?
It was a testament to what happens when a lot of people work hard for the love of one thing, that we can get things done. I mean, the thing that I was always taken back, like even in the carnival, which was one location, the cast was there all the time. And it was long, rainy, had to wait. David Strathairn would be waiting 6-7 hours, which like gives me a heart attack having to think about an actor waiting to go on. And no one complained. Everybody was there. And just for knowing, like, what, we're lucky to be here. This is a crazy time, and we're going to keep exploring. No one ever went, oh, let's just get it done. Let's get our day done and go on. We kept pushing it always. And in terms of takeaway, this exploration from, me as an actor and helping tell the story as a producer, the thing I love about that Guillermo wanted to explore where we are, and it's a reckoning, is just how much we all need to have a moral foundation, to find something that we can believe in greater than ourselves. Because left to our own devices, moral relativism, no sense of what real intimacy is, we're fucked.
Yes, very well put.
What a way.
We might be fucked anyway, but yeah.
Listen, I thank both of you for allowing me to have this conversation with you guys. Bradley, you speaking about those scenes that we don't get to see. I mean, the Guillermo cut, we can release that. We can start that hashtag and get it going. That would be a good movie. I love to watch. But no, thank you both for this time, and thank you everyone for watching at home. I hope you're safe. And go see Nightmare Alley, and tell all your friends, please go see Nightmare Alley.
Thanks, Clayton.
Thank you. Thanks, Clayton.